Hi, Ian. My name is
Hi,
Maya.
Maya.
Hi,
I
Maya.
I know. I'm
Okay.
aware.
Um, I'm glad to be speaking with you. How are you doing?
I just told you that.
Okay, but like they don't know.
I'm doing mighty fine.
That's good. That's a really good description. Normally I just opt for good. So
I could go back and just say, yeah, it
you're
was
already
good.
one-upping me. So that's good. You're doing good. Um, what if you were to describe yourself in 3 words, like how would you do that? Like if someone was like, who is an
How would I
who
describe
is an
myself in three
Ian? What is
words?
that? Uh-huh.
Like the general idea of an Ian or this
Go
Ian.
both. Why not?
Um, I mean, I only know one other Ian. Um, I'll come back to
All
that,
right.
but I guess for myself, it would be he needs glasses.
Is that like your personality trait?
Like you have glasses, you know how like
Yeah, I
people
do
are always like,
know.
"Oh my god, can I try on your glasses?" And every time I give somebody my glasses, they go, "Oh my god, you really can't see,
Yeah,
Ian."
I'm like surprised by how much that happens. Like I would think that's just like an elementary school thing, but it's you're right. It does happen a lot more than I wish
It even
it.
happens in college.
Oh no.
What about you, Maya? How would you
How would I
describe
describe
yourself and the
myself?
general concept of Maya's in three
Okay,
words?
I actually know a lot of Mayas. Um, Fun fact, I was almost named Jamal. Yeah,
That's a lovely name. You certainly have the Jamal look about you,
I
Maya.
know. Like I was born, and they're like, Jamal. No, let's throw this one out the window.
Was it like like if you were just like a different baby, I guess, would you have still been named Jamal? Or like they looked at you and like they ain't giving off
I
Jamal
think they
vibes.
had.
'Cause
It's funny because they had they'd picked out gendered names, and because the doctor pronounced me female, I was Maya. Keisha was also in the running.
you I
It's just
I like
very ethnic
Keisha.
names. You like it, but doesn't it remind you of like the French dish?
What, like quinoa?
No, 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 like quiche. Is that not French?
I mean, I guess I'm
Oh,
not
well,
French.
anyways, to describe me in 3 words, I would say not caring.
We
Uh
get to pick adjectives. I thought it had to be like a sentence.
okay. Very nice. Okay.
Mamma mia.
Mamma mia. Yeah, why don't you choose adjectives? Maybe that'll be help more easy to
Um,
explain.
Nearsighted.
No. Well,
That's
okay,
one word.
not
There's the hyphen.
but okay, continue.
Nearsighted. Um, Stupid, but also smart.
That's more than three, but I'll let it
Well,
slide. I thought these were gonna be like personality descriptors rather than like I wear
it's
glasses. I have hair.
yeah. Do you want me to go again? I'll go again. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess. Like I don't want to sound too
Okay,
like
just
I'm
don't
sucking
use
my own
don't
dick
use
out here.
humble. Don't use humble, but other than that.
Modest, humble, and the best.
The bet is that also hyphenated?
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. Yeah. Trust
Oh,
me. I,
okay.
I I know I know language.
Speaking of language, I know this is totally unrelated. Um, what's your major?
So the college I'm going to, you can only technically major in one thing, which is liberal arts. But
Mm,
there's
okay.
like four, technically four classes at my college. There's mathematics, which you kind of go through the history of mathematics. You start with like literally the basics of geometry. You do
Mm,
like some astrology, and you just make your way from there. And then I think you end with like Einstein and quantum mechanics.
that's
You have
fun.
It is. And then we also have language classes,
Hmm.
which uh, freshman year and sophomore year, you learn ancient Greek, and junior and senior year, you learn French, and you basically learn it so you can translate the like texts and the original language to English to see what they are actually like. And ancient Greek, whew, not a fun language to learn.
It's not like anything else.
The only fun thing about it is that like now you know like the etymology of words,
Mm.
like philosophy, like the word like philo is love, and Sophia, because the ancient Greek word is philosophia, so like love of wisdom, and that's kind of you know what
Mm.
what what it means.
That's cool. Genuinely, because I think a lot of people get stuck, or a lot of, in general, undecided major kind of people. They're like, I don't know. I don't want to be set in stone with this one career path. And I think that provides you the best of both worlds. So, not that this is a sales
Yeah,
pitch, but you get to do a lot of everything, which sounds fun.
it is quite fun, but it's like a bitch load of work. Let me tell you, Maya. We read Plato's Republic and like all of it in like 2 weeks.
Oh, and that stuff is dense.
Yeah. Well, it's fun, but it's also like when you're doing it. So like I guess the other half of my school that I should have prefaced with is it's entirely Socratic. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of like there being teachers and you go into like a lecture hall and get lectured to for like an hour and a half, what you do is you read the text and you can annotate it if you want. It helps, and then you sit down in class and then you discuss it for for uh for like an hour or two, and that's
Right.
literally what we do in each and every one of our classes.
Huh. So it's just a, I guess, more unusual approach. But do you enjoy that?
I I definitely am very happy with the choice I made. I definitely think I'm at the right college for me.
That's good. Yeah, I feel like, um, from my perception, I feel like something like a lecture hall where you're sitting for upwards of an hour, like that would be hard for you to just sit there and take that.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
like
I think that's a
it.
good choice for you.
I definitely agree with that. It's like you get to actively participate with the authors in the book rather than having somebody like read their interpretation
Right.
of what it means to you. They might be like, "Oh yeah, Plato, my man, boss as hell. I love Plato." But like reading the Republic and some of his other works, I fucking hate Plato.
It just depends what you're up for, like learning by doing, or if you can just watch an example and catch on to it. Um, Also, I feel like you're using more parts of your brain that way. You're not just like, I never have to look at math ever again, you know.
Yeah, and it's like this is like the first math class that gave me an existential crisis, not from like, oh, I'm gonna fail, but because of what we were actually discussing in class. So we were talking about like triangles, as one does in their math class, and
Mhm.
so I think it kind of has to do with like Plato's idea of like the theory of forms that like there's this invisible world of just pure being rather than like the physical representations we see.
Mm.
Like I guess a better way to describe it is like it's that kind of pedantic thing where it's like what makes a tree
It's just
because
collective understanding of, I agree, this is whatever.
yeah, that like that's I guess the human
Everyone has to
interpretation of it,
accept that it is just
but
because.
but Plato has this idea that after you die, there's like this realm of like pure things. Like you see a tree, and it's just like the pure idea of a tree. Like I guess another better way of putting it is there's beauty, and then there's capital B beauty. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Okay. So you're paying to
And
open your third eye.
basically, it's like all forms of beauty are an expression of that pure idea of beauty, whether they come out in like a very attractive woman or like a like a painting by I don't know, whoever the hell you like, Van Gogh, something like that. You know how it be.
Ah, that's really interesting. Do you know where you plan to take yourself with that, or
Straight
is
to
this
the streets
is
begging for
this
money, Maya. That's where I'm
is
going.
this a dad question?
A little bit.
Yeah,
I I really don't know where I see myself going after this.
that's
But you
okay.
know,
Just
en-
absorb.
enough about me, Maya. What about you? What are your college
Oh, me.
plans?
Oh my gosh. I
I guess
for
to
a long
clarify though, we should
time.
say that I'm a freshman in college and you're a senior in high school.
Yes, yeah, if that is important. Um, I feel like all my life I've been like, what don't I want to do? You know,
Mhm.
um, wanted to be a lawyer, dentist. I don't know, anything. But I've narrowed it down. And oh, fun fact: this is like such a pretentious flex. But when I was 8, I wanted to be a primatologist. Do,
Like Jane Goodall, like looking at monkeys.
yeah.
Really quick side note: my first crush when I was a kid was we were watching National Geographic, and there's like a documentary about like apes, and Jane Goodall was in it, like a young Jane Goodall. I wasn't attracted to apes. Don't worry. It was
Okay.
like it was
I know where this is
I had
going.
I had my first childhood crush on Jane Goodall.
Oh my gosh, that's
Not to
beautiful.
flex.
No, that's a good crush. She's a smart lady. Yeah, I was also in love with Jane Goodall, which is why I wanted to be a primatologist and go on over to Tanzania and just hang out with her. Um, no, that left me, I guess. I realized I didn't like animals. I went to like the zoo or something.
What you like heard the story of like Travis the chimp, the guy, the chimp who like ripped off that lady's face, and you're like, maybe not, maybe a little safer occupation.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I also just don't like animals. I don't know what's wrong with me. I try. I'm just, I guess, not as kind-hearted as I thought I could be. Oh, what was
Was
it?
it
There's
was there an episode of Drake and Josh where like some guy got attacked by a chimp? Like, am I remembering that correctly?
oh gosh, I'm not as well versed in Drake and Josh. My show was I'm more victorious than Drake and Josh.
Oh my god. Ugh.
I know, I know. It was just what was on.
Okay, continue, Maya, if you must.
I went to like the zoo, like a petting zoo, and there was
Yeah.
goats there. It was okay. Oh my gosh, I was just about to drop a piece of this story that won't make sense unless I preface with it was Halloween.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I was a hula girl. Let's
You tell me you didn't just go dressed around as a hula girl when you were younger, Maya?
I'm sorry to all the all the culture I was appropriating. But yes, I was a hula girl, and I had a grass skirt, and the goat ate my skirt because I was trying to pet it, and it decided to have a snack on my skirt. And then I think that was when I was like, I don't like animals. Um, I it makes me kind of skeptical of like goat milk and goat cheese, but
What do you think the goat's gonna do? Like put cyanide in it while no one's looking?
no, like they eat just everything. You don't know what they're putting in their
So
bodies.
like you don't want them eating like you don't want them eating the cyanide pill that gets passed into their milk.
Well, I don't want to taste my own hula skirt. Do you?
Yeah.
No.
It's called living life to the fullest, Maya.
Hmm. Yeah, but like I don't want the last thing I eat to be that hula skirt goat cheese.
Are you allergic to hula skirts? Like, would you have an allergic reaction?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. There's just too many variables in goat cheese. First, I wanted to be a candy scientist and like just creating different
Willy
candies and
Wonka.
stuff. Yeah, I wanted to be Willy Wonka. Um, but then I was like, this is not practical. There's bigger issues in this world. Like people are dying from malnutrition. Is candy really a priority? So now for like 6 years, I wanted to be a food scientist. And I was
Do you
actually
see yourself?
talking. Oh, sorry,
Do you still see yourself going down that path, like right now?
candy,
No, food
food
science.
science. Yeah, that's the major I've applied to. Like 80% of the schools I applied to. I'm
Hmm.
like basically done. I have one more app.
Which one? Which college?
We're not gonna get into that. But yeah, I wanted to do food science, and then I was talking to this one admissions lady. I don't know. I reached out to a school and I was like, "Hey, can I talk to someone from this department specifically?" She was like, "How'd you get into food science and all that?" I was talking about how I want to do candy science, um, and now I was like, it's impractical. I gave my whole spiel, and she was like, "Well, why does candy science have to be impractical? Couldn't you um, develop something that helps people with some medical problem
Hmm.
by utilizing candy?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh." Her name was April. Shout out to April. April's a genius. Um, I don't know. So that door is still kind of open, I guess.
Hmm.
But yeah, candy science, food science. Just I just want to do something where I feel like I won't get bored. There's so many avenues within food
Yeah.
science. Um, but I do have two schools I'm applying to as under a liberal arts major. Um,
Ooh.
yeah,
Taking after your good old pal
I
Ian.
know. Yeah, we'll be best buds talking about philosophy and stuff. Although mine will be in a concentration of linguistics, so
Hmm.
language, all that fun stuff, which makes me nervous because my grammar is really bad. Like
Yeah.
it's really bad.
Linguistics always seemed like so interesting to me, but it also seemed like so pedantic with like the like, oh, you can't use a semicolon in this situation, but you can use it in this one. I wasn't a fan of that.
I feel like skeptical of my English teachers because one teacher kind of definitely has favorites, and I'm pretty sure I was one of them. Um, but in terms of my writing and how they grade it, they tend to give me high grades, and they always say like, "Oh, your student voice is so good." And I'm like, "Okay, but my grammar sucks." And it
I'll
makes
say,
me like nervous for like
yeah,
the first time I have an interaction with like a class or a professor that's like, "No, you're trash."
writing your first like college paper and like once you get into the college, I'm not talking about like a
Mhm.
Common App essay or
Right.
something like that. At least for me, it was so nerve wracking, and I don't know if it was just like
You have
because of
no
the college.
idea, yeah, what their expectations are.
Yeah, and it's like I didn't know how much free range I had to talk about what I wanted to talk about because
Mm.
like we went to the same high school, so you know how it kind of like in a
Yeah.
box you are when you have to write an essay. You have to do everything the way the teacher wants it. Like I have this friend, and she wrote. We had an essay that we had to write before winter break, which was like how have we changed since we came to this college? Just like kind of like right
Huh.
before break, essay like that.
Well,
And
then it's
she
about
wrote her
you, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and my friend she wrote her essay in like this like really not avant garde, but like unique way, where it was
Mm.
like
Unique is a safe word.
yeah, and it was like if somebody turned that in at like where we went to high school, they probably would have failed.
Hmm. Huh. But did the paper do well?
Yeah, the teacher said that my friend's paper was the best paper from that essay like
Wow.
group.
I found um someone described it to me. It's like you're writing for that teacher. When you write, you're writing, you have to interpret how that teacher will want, you know,
Hmm.
whatever. You're writing to them. So you don't really get to write in the way you want to. I don't know. I guess it's like dealing with narcissists. You're like, I have to just talk about what they want.
Yeah, and it's also like we read a shitload, excuse me, a buttload at at my college, and it's like a lot of the essays are like they're kind of just open to whatever you want to do. Like I wrote my second essay about free will in the Oresteia, which is a trilogy of plays by Aeschylus, and
Hmm.
like I could have written about anything, and like anything. Like I could have written about like hypocrisy in the Odyssey, like Achilles' anger in the Iliad, something about the Republic.
Right. I mean, I guess that's what life is about when you transition to adulthood. It's like no one's going to guide you. You have to pick what's important to you, but the world will still critique you. It's yeah, interesting,
Yeah.
interesting, interesting. So, how much of I know this is a terrible transition. Um, so your personality type, it's an INFP. Yes, it is. Um,
I believe it is. Yes.
yeah, mine is an INFJ. After I made you figure out what your personality type is, does that make sense to you? Why you ended up with that?
I I'll say this. Like when I took it like a few years ago, that's when I first got it, and I was like,
Right.
wow, I got this one's so cool. I'm so creative. I'm like only 4% of the population. I'm so unique. But
uh,
now I'm like, it's kind of it's all kind of arbitrary, you know?
well,
Like when I told my dad that, which one am I, an INFP?
yes.
Like when I told my dad that I was an INFP, he was like, "You got introverted? Like you seem really extroverted." So it's like
Yeah.
it,
I mean, it again with any time in life you take a test, it's not going to accurately depict every nuance of your being. But it's like I think it's pretty cool. They're pretty spot on for me at least. And they recommend you keep retaking it so that because they assume you will change and things will be different, which is almost like them covering for themselves, being like, yeah, like
yeah.
you might change. Um, but you don't find yourself introverted?
I find myself introverted in my own personal view of how I act, but maybe not how other people perceive me, if that
Mm.
makes any sense.
Do you ever catch yourself being more extroverted than you normally would be if you were alone?
It's probably like the same thing that everyone experiences, where it's like if you're in a new situation, I get extremely introverted. I like draw into myself. Like I do nothing but observe. I don't really interact.
Mm.
And then once I get kind of comfortable with people, like kind of feel them out, then I will be more and more extroverted. But like I have to be comfortable in a situation before I extrovert myself.
I have seen some of my friends become more loud to
Yeah.
just get a feel for everyone. So, I mean, maybe your ability to easily adapt or hang back a little bit is a good indicator of like where you are with new people. I don't know, because like for my personality trait, my whatever, I'm like it categorizes me as introverted, but I've found I can force myself to go up and talk to people, just
Hmm.
random people, and that's a new skill of mine that I've developed within the last like 3 years.
Hmm.
But yeah, I would still say I'm introverted. For the longest time, I used to say I was ambiverted, which is like a little bit of both whenever I
Yeah.
want to be.
I don't like systematically categorizing
Mm.
myself. I feel like it's so limiting in a certain sense. Like I could be just as much a like ENFQ or whatever the hell the rest of them are. And I feel like it gives people a certain excuse to for
Mm.
some of their problems. Like they're like you know the classic joke like I'm such a Gemini. Don't
Yeah,
blame me.
I have no clue about horoscopes. That's something I don't touch.
I think
But
yeah,
I
I think the
understand what you're saying.
personality traits are just as arbitrary as like astrology or astronomy
Mm.
signs or whatever the hell it is. It's
Okay.
it's vague enough that if you get put into any random one, you'll be able to see some part of yourself in it. but
Okay.
it's specific enough that it's like you think that it perfectly describes you. And I don't think anything could describe me better than I could describe myself, I guess. Which
In
sounds
three
really
words.
which sounds really bad coming after that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No, I get that. I agree with some of what you're saying, but as much as I
w-
don't want to be like, yeah, so because of the stars, today I'm going to eat only green.
Mercury's in retrograde. I hit
Yeah.
a baby with my car.
Oh, I think I'm just as bad with my personality type, whatever. I find it helpful. Um, I've written, why does Maya care? I will
Yeah.
tell you why I
Why
care.
do you care, Maya?
Um, I try to ask my friends what their personality type is, because I will ask them, like, how do you deal with conflict? If you're upset, how do you want me to comfort you, if even? Would it be okay for me to like physically touch you? Would you want me to leave the room? Like, different people have their way of handling with that. And then that kind of opened the door for like, oh, so what about if my friend is mad? What if my friend is dealing with
Yeah.
loss? So I feel like knowing where my friends' personality types are, I it helps me to know how to care for them, maybe in a more considerate way. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's not like you said, it's not like a perfect guide, but it gives me a starting point if they don't know how to articulate their feelings or where they're coming from. Like, I've had people that are like, I don't know, figure it out when it happens. And then I have
Yeah.
had people that are like, oh, I need you to leave the room when I'm crying.
I mean, my thing with that is it's like, and I don't want to put my personal experiences and apply them universally because I think
Right.
that
That's
that is
always a trouble
yeah.
thing to do, or you get in trouble.
But I think it really depends on the situation rather than the
Yeah.
person. Like if I could be in one situation where I would, I guess, prefer like physical touching, and in another where I just prefer to be left alone.
Right.
And I,
It is case by case.
and then that could like the same situation or issue that caused me to want to be left alone could cause somebody else to want like physical intimacy rather than being left alone. Everybody is so unique that
Right.
I feel like once you put them in a little box of like A, B, C, D, then
Mhm.
it's like they feel like they have to act like that and they follow the course rather than making their own path, so to speak. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. I wouldn't say I really know anyone that's really like, oh, the Meyer-Briggs assessment told me that I don't like to whatever go out shopping with friends, so I'm not going to. I think just as much as we categorize ourselves as introvert, extrovert, some people, moment to moment, you can decide. You have that freedom to be like, I don't feel introverted right now. I can go and do this. Um, I don't know. I just find it helpful, and we can disagree on that, and that's fine. But I find it helpful because sometimes I'm just like, I need help figuring out these people.
Yeah.
It's my guidance, because sometimes when people are emotionally overwhelmed, they're unavailable to communicate what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not here to convince you, because
I mean, like my view, I guess my philosophy on life would be more just like you can't live your life, I guess, according to what like Nietzsche says or like what Plato
mm,
says. The most important way of living your life is how you think that it will work best for you,
mm,
and that for you that might mean like using like Myers Briggs
mm-hmm,
or whatever it is to help you like kind of navigate your way through life and having to like interact with people. And then there are people like me who like say that like I think it's kind of bullshit, but
that's all right.
it works either way because you can't apply like one person's idea of how things work to how everybody should work because that
Exactly.
denies a certain freedom. My idea,
Mm-hmm.
my mind, my big
Mm-hmm.
old noggin.
Yeah, nicely said. Everybody has their own way of figuring it out. And I know this sounds ridiculous, but I had this moment like maybe a year or two ago where I just was like, oh my gosh, everybody has their own experiences because of their upbringings. There are people that feel the way they feel, and nothing in this world can change that. And like, I know that sounds dumb because obviously everyone's different, everyone has different experiences, but I had this moment, I was like, oh wow, there's no person on this world that is like exactly the same as me. Hi, thank you so much for listening along to the first episode of Finding Your Marbles with Maya and Ian. I hope you have a great day. P.S. What's your star sign?